and welcome to This is Private Practice. It's not quite 4:30. I'm a little early today. Hurrah! How's your day been? My day feels like it's been very full. I worked on my book a bit this morning, then I delivered some coaching. I had my group mastermind today, which has prompted the topic of discussion for this afternoon. Then I had another coaching call, and I've been doing some work for one of my practice building clients and one of my rehab clients. And then I got to go and meet with my accountant and have my Purple Co annual general meeting and get all of our taxes squared away for the last financial year, which ends on June 30. And start making some plans and understanding how to make financial plans from a very structured and concrete way, because I'm a fairly structured and concrete girl when it comes to numbers. Hello, Julian. How are you today? So I'm interested to have a discussion about how money changes us. Now, I know many of us are going to go, it doesn't change us. I'm exactly the same way I was. I think it does. And the reason why I think so is because when we get scared around money, our behavior changes. Now, I'm going through a period of growth in my business, but to actually execute the growth, I need some more financial support. So to do that, I am going to ask a bank to loan me some money. And the idea of that makes me feel a bit sick. Because in my past, and I've made no secret of this, I got myself into a lot of consumer debt, credit card debt, and it took me a lot of work and a lot of effort to learn to live within my means, because as a child, I grew up in a household where we weren't taught how to do that particularly well. I've also got all of this other baggage hanging around about poverty mindset, and that if it doesn't work, then I'm going to be abandoned. And if it doesn't work, my reputation is going to be ruined. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to be humiliated. You know, all that stuff that you think you've left behind that comes up whenever you've got growth and potential and risks you need to take. So it's no wonder that my poor little tummy is churning away. But what I have learned, so in the past, when I have needed more money in my business, I personally have worked harder. I've just gone out and done more work. And it's gotten to the point now where in my business, that no longer works. I can't actually work any harder. I can't actually sell any more of me to do the work that needs to be done. And that comes a point in everybody's business. The model of business, the way my business is structured and set up, there's just no more of me to go around. So we need to bring someone on board to help me leverage that, which is really exciting. So instead of me churning around in my stomach going, wonder if this will work, what if it doesn't, wonder if it will, because my personality and the way I make decisions is I get to the point where things become intolerable and I just make a decision because I need a decision to be made. It's not always the right decision. It's just I feel better because the decision has been made. And then we work out all the consequences of said decision. However, this time I've brought people in around me to advise me, to think about how you think like a CFO. How does a CFO think? I've never been a CFO. Businesses have CFOs. I don't. I have a Joe. Ha ha. But how do you take that information that money gives you and make sense of it so that it becomes a tool to create the growth in your business? Now, lots of successful entrepreneurs and business owners borrow money. There's lots of angel investors who like to invest money. There's people who say, I will take an equity share. So this whole sharing of financial resources actually goes on in the business building part of the world that we are a part of. So why should I be so special that I don't participate in that? And I just don't have extra financial resources behind me to go, here you go, business, feel safe and secure. And to be honest with you, it wouldn't matter how many zeros were behind the number. At the moment, it would just feel uncomfortable because I'm having to ask for credit, which means I feel like I'm going into debt. However, What this planning exercise has done is help me to see how bringing on a new employee is a growth asset for the business. So all I could think about were the costs of the salary, workers' compensation, the PI and PL insurance, the superannuation, the annual leave, the sick leave. All I could do was think about expenses. It's going to cost me this much. What I hadn't understood was how to think about that person coming on board and adding to the bottom line and watching how that person was leveraged to allow the income in the business to grow. And how do you do? There's formulas for that. Did you know there are formulas for that? So I have opted for super, super conservative formulas because that makes me feel safe and I can control that. And now we have a plan. Now it's a 3-year plan. I would like my plan to be executed in 3 months, but I'm also learning that in a business my size with so many moving parts, that change doesn't happen as quickly and that I need to bring people along with the change. So this is a really exciting time. We just have us. You have to live and die by your own sword. That's right, isn't it? Well, the buck still stops with me, Julianne. It does. So if this doesn't work, I'm going to have to make financial decisions about that, aren't I? If this does work, then awesome. But I think it's a little bit better than when I thought that I could learn to trade the US stock market, trading options, when I had no clue what that meant, getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning to place trades in a foreign currency and didn't have a plan. I just went, trained monkeys apparently can do this, so Joe should be able to. That did not go well for me. So I'm a little bit proud of myself, number one, for recognizing that I don't want things to stay the same. We've had 3 years of fairly consistent revenue growth, but it's not as much as I would like. And we're now at this uncomfortable stage in the business where if I don't invest, we're not going to be able to push through this plateau. And I'm just going to bounce around at my current revenue levels because if nothing's going to change, if nothing changes. So here is an opportunity for me to experience that. But I just thought it was so, so interesting as I thought that I had my money mindset sorted. I worked on this really hard back in 2011, 2012. Prior to that, I worked on it really hard in 2002, 2003. So I thought I had dealt with this. I thought it was done. But it's really interesting because our money mindset and how we think about money is so attached to our perception of who we are. It's attached to our family of origin and how we were brought up. It's attached to our sense of identity and our self-worth. You can go read all the money mindset books under the sun and they will come back to these things. The way you think about money tells you the way you think about yourself, your self-worth, and your identity. It is one of the things that makes us the most vulnerable. It's incredible the power that it has in our world, but it's a great information tool. Hey, Priscilla, it is a great tool for helping us to see information about personality, to see information about behavior. Other thing I thought was really interesting was that as I was going through this process of thinking about it and getting some advice, I shrank back. I shrank into myself. I started micromanaging. Now, control is one of my drivers. Hello, have you met me? Coffee and control, 2 favorite things. So when I'm feeling insecure and unsure about myself, I like to micromanage. I like to micromanage things like how we do the clothes washing and how the washing is sorted and how it is hung out on the clothesline and how it is folded. I kid you not. So you can imagine the fun that my clients have, that my team has, that my son has, that my husband has when I'm feeling insecure because money issues make me feel out of control. So I go back to those places where I can control to help me feel safe. I just thought that was such an interesting realization and had the awareness to see that that's what was happening. So I became distracted. I became indecisive. And I found it difficult to focus and make a decision on the decisions that need to be made. That's not me. That's not normal behavior for me. So the way we think about money, and money does change us. So when we're becoming insecure about money, it really does change our behavior because it takes us back to our tricky little amygdala who wants to engage and help us feel safe by making us control things because, all the big predators are coming. The predators are I won't be able to look after myself. I'm going to be abandoned. Everyone's going to humiliate me. I'm not good enough. No more pterodactyls. We've just got our own internal predators these days. Just in case you were wondering where the predators were, they come up from the inside of us. Okay. So I spoke about this. I'm looking at my notes that I've got over there. I spoke about this in my mastermind group this morning. So I have an Accelerate Your Practice mastermind group, and I'm always inspired. And we were chatting about this today, and we started to reflect upon where our behavior does change and what we could do, how we could help minimize the risk. And again, we have two camps. We have the camp of the people who go back to task completion, lots of task completion. Please let me complete the task, need to control the task, give me the facts and the figures. I want all the tasks, let me do the task. I tend to fall into that category. Where that is not helpful is when we have people involved. So those of us who manage people, lead people. So then we've got the other camp where it's all about, we've got to make the people feel safe. I feel safe when the people are safe. I feel safe when we're following the rules around the people, when we've all agreed to the rules and we're helping the people come through, which is awesome. If you've got a task-oriented person and a people-oriented person in the same team, what an amazing combination you've got there. But doing it in isolation, we can forget that people need to feel nurtured and cared for, and that's possibly what's missing when all we want them to do is complete the task because I'm being really helpful in allowing you to complete the task. Can you complete the task? That way I feel safe and I can make you feel safe. All of this stuff comes up when we have got to deal with issues around money. And the next thing I wanted to share with you is the decisions that you make when you're in a different, like 2 years into your private practice, the money issues that come up for you are going to be quite different 5 or 6 years into your private practice. Well, I'm expecting so, because I'm expecting that you're going to want to grow. And if you don't want to grow a big business, that's fine, but you are personally going to grow. You're going to have new clients come into your world. You're going to have new life circumstances come into your world. You're going to read. You wouldn't be watching my videos if you were interested in growth. Let's just put that out there. So the way you think about things at year 2 is going to be different to the way you think about things at year 6. But the problem is you're not going to know how to get to year 6 thinking until you've done the year 2 thinking. Now, I reflected on something today that way back at year 3 and 4, I was trying to do 10-year thinking without having done the solid work that goes along. Another part of my personality, I just like the result. Please give me the result. I haven't respected the process and the journey. I know there'll be a couple of people who watch this video later today who go, oh my God, Jo said journey and she didn't burst into flames. I can say journey now, and I can respect journey, and I can respect process, and I can respect the stages of growth that we need to go to. Because let's face it, if we were given $1 million in our first year of being in business, would we know how to manage it? Would we know what to do with it? Or would we fritter it all away in unwise, unhelpful, useless decisions because we don't know what to do with that? Just a question. I don't know. I would be interested in anyone who has ever handled $1 million at one point in time, as in had $1 million in their hand, to find out how they make decisions about how to use that money. I personally don't think I've ever met somebody like that. Certainly not me. Just in case you're interested. So, hope that message has been helpful today. It's certainly been incredibly insightful for me and useful for me to have this place of reflection and to be able to encourage you to understand that money is going to make you vulnerable. Lots of money will make you vulnerable because you'll be scared that people won't want to know you anymore, but not having enough money is also going to make you vulnerable, or the fear of not having enough money is also going to make you incredibly vulnerable. We have money, a lot of power in our worlds. I think we need to shift that. I'm working on that. This is private practice, and money is something that we all need in our private practice. But tomorrow is Celebration Friday. I really am looking forward to celebrating the end of the week with everybody. I feel like it's been a really big week for me this week, although I can't quite articulate the bigness of it. Not yet. But let's get together tomorrow afternoon. In the meantime, go make it happen. Have a great evening, morning, afternoon, and I look forward to talking to you tomorrow. Oh, hey, Jen.